Hello everyone. It's been a while since my last video upload. I planned this Banshee video release when last time she got unvaulted, but I've been busy with real life. I still have the old recorded gameplay of her, and I think there are no changes with my last build of her to the current game updates right now. And yes, she is still my top tier DPS and one of my favorite frame lists. Then, without further ado, let's get into the build. You can use and experiment yourself for other subsume abilities that suits with your gameplay, but my 6 best recommendations would be Breaching Surge, Ensnare, Gloom, Marked for Death, Petrify, and Radial Blind. You can sacrifice her 4th ability for most of the subsume combo ability, or her 3rd in a few builds. Starting with casual everyday build. I'm using Sevagoth's Gloom and Excalibur's Radial Blind. Both abilities adding more crowd control for more survivability. You can replace Radial Blind with Mesa Shooting Gallery. It's easier to do because we don't need to keep spamming the Radial Blind every time we face new enemies. Radial Blind works well in every enemy's faction, but Shooting Gallery is not so good with infested faction. If you want to play solo survival without worrying about life support, this build is perfect for this job. With Petrify and Gaze Augment mod, you can get extra drop of life support and extra crowd control for more survivability. You need to find the dead-end map like this to stay and move efficiently, also you just face enemies in front of you only and keep petrify them. Her first ability with its augment is great, but unfortunately the ragdolls make it less effective to use, especially if we're using guns. If only the effects made enemies stunned or knocked down for several seconds, it would be great for easier aim and targeting. That's why I'm using Korra's Ensnare ability to gain more crowd control and decrease the ragdolls from her first ability. Next is Marked for Death. She have biggest finisher damage compared other frame like Ashe and Excalibur with her augment, but less crowd control to maintain survivability. With this build all we need to do is grouping enemies closer with Magus Anomaly and then execute them all in one hit. Excellent for solo survival mission because less button to press. In almost every Marked for Death build, I recommend you to using rapier class weapons such as Destreza Prime, Plague Kripath Rapier and Detit Rapier with maximum critical chance combination. This weapon class is unique. Finisher attack will always deal /status effects for extra damage to all affected enemies. My favorite subsume ability on her would be Breaching Surge. With this you can deal much more damage and also transfer it to even bigger damage number on nearby enemies. Not only boosting damage, it provides crowd control ability to gain more survivability. You can see hundreds of millions, billions and even negative damage number on your screen. I use Bazaran Protective Dash in almost every of my Banshee build to gain extra survivability and to stay longer in survival missions. Also, Magus Anomaly to group enemies together for easier target to hit. In this build, I recommend you to use Glaive Prime, Wolf Sledgehammer Throw and Stropha for easier headshot and maximize your damage number on screen. I keep this in future videos as short as possible because I assume you are experienced player and I just explaining the most important things only. But if you're not, feel free to ask me in the comment. Thank you for watching and see you again next time.